Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Go Prabhanandi. So I thought of a verse I would like to read this morning that will help us continue. Specifically, this verse relates to prayer, and the holy name is a prayer, and how to pray. That's a prayer of Queen Kunti. Some of you may know it. Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribir Edamana Madapuman. 1 minute. This is the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, text 26. How many of you know this verse? Raise your hand. Janmashvarya Shruta Shribir. 3. Sometimes devotees will say, this is a famous verse. But I think it just means it's famous in the Brahmacharya ashram. But outside that, nobody knows it. Something like that. Famous means that Prabhupada quoted it a lot. In the 70s, Rohini Kumar Prabhu produced a book of Prabhupada's most quoted shlokas. So we thought if we're going to learn shlokas, we should learn the shlokas that Prabhupada quoted the most. And so this is somewhat well known. If you know it, you can repeat it, and I'll try to say it clearly and slowly. So if you don't know it, maybe you can repeat it. Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribir Shvarya Shruta Shribir Edamana Madapuman Naivar Hatya Vidatum Bai Vadat Hamid Twam Akinchana Gocharam Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribir Edamana Madapuman Naivarhatya Vidatum Vai Tamakinchana gocharam Janmaishvarya Shuta Shribir Hedamana Madapuman Navahartyavidatam Vai Tamakinchana gocharam. So if you have, if you're Shrutidar and you remember this verse, you can chant it. And if you're iPhone Dar and have an iPhone or an Android and it's on your phone, you can also chant it. Dar means holding, Shruti means memory, so everything you hear you remember. But Dar, because it means holding, you can remember it by holding your phone and putting on the Veda base and reading it. So, someone want to chant?
Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribir
Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribir Vedamana Madapuman Naivarhati Avidatum Vai
Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribir Vedamana Madapuman Naivarhatya Vidatam Vai
Vamakinchana Gocharam. I heard a rumor when you go back to Godhead, they ask you if you know this verse. And if you don't know it, they send you back and say, when you learn it, you can try again. Anyone else? So, word meanings. Janma, birth. Aishwarya, opulence. Shruta, education. Shribihi, by the possession of beauty. Edamana, progressively increasing. Madaha, intoxication. Human, the human being. Na, never. Eva, ever. Arhati, deserves. Abhidhatum, to address in feeling. By, certainly. Tvam, you. Akinchana gocharam, one who is approached easily by the materially exhausted man. Translation. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. Because one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty cannot address you with sincere feeling. So we'll read the purport in it. Prabhupada explains more what this verse means. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth and education and attractive personal beauty. Janma, Aishvarya, Shruta, Shribir. That's how the verse starts. Janma is birth. Aishvarya, you know Aishvarya? Opulence. Shruta. Shruta means hearing, but here it's education. So as an opulence, you're well educated. And Shri. Shri can be Lakshmi, can be beauty. What did Prabhupada translate? Shri Bir, he translated as beauty, but we already have Aishwarya, yeah. So Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shribir. Birth. You take birth in a good family, wealthy family, cultured family, highly educated. You get good education. You're born with a beautiful body. And what else? Good birth, opulence, education, and beauty. Yeah. At least in the Vedic context, when you do things to create good karma, this is what you create. A better birth. You don't have to take birth on Earth. You can take birth on a planet where there's no snow. That would be nice. Yeah, and so purport. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth and education and attractive personal beauty. All materialistic men are mad after possessing all these material opulences. And this is known as the advancement of material civilization. But the result is that by possessing all these material assets, one becomes artificially puffed up, intoxicated by such temporary possessions. So in the verse, the word madha. Sometimes madha means illusioned or mad, madha. Inebriated, intoxicated. It's just synonyms. If you're intoxicated, you're mad. You're illusioned. So you become intoxicated by these opulences. Consequently, such materially puffed up persons are incapable of uttering the holy name of the Lord by addressing Him feelingly. O Govinda, O Krishna. It is said in the Shastras that by once uttering the holy name of the Lord, the sinner gets rid of a quantity of sins that he is unable to commit. Such is the power of uttering the holy name. There is not the least exaggeration in this statement. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency. But you were thinking, oh, I can just make offenses. Right here, Prabhupada says, the holy name is so powerful. Sorry for the bad news. You know what comes after but, right? It qualifies the previous statement. Don't think you can just chant any way you want. But there is a quality to such utterances also. Okay, get ready. Just want to confirm what we have been talking about. It depends on the quality of feeling. So I'll read those two sentences again. I'll read three. Actually, the holy name has such powerful potency. And referring to the last statement that one utterance of the holy name can counteract more sins than you could commit. But there is a quality to such utterances. It depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. A materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. Therefore, the four principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, and attractive beauty, are, so to speak, disqualifications for the progress on the path of spiritual advancement. And Prabhupada means that if you have these things, it's going to disqualify you, but if you're trying to have them, or you have them and you're trying to enjoy them. That's a problem. The material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature. It's an external feature, as much as fever is an external feature of an unhealthy body. The general process is to decrease the fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. Sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. There is no discouragement. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign, as much as the falling of temperature is a good sign. The principle of life should be to decrease the degree of material intoxication, which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. In other words, one of the things we see is that often when people are materially well situated, they don't really feel that they need God. I mean, some people, if they're religious, they feel that it's because of God that they're well situated. But as society becomes more godless, then why would I need God? I have everything I need. Whereas people that don't have much will depend more on God. Especially, of course, if they're pious. So, I'm going to ask you a question that I've asked many times in many temples, for which the answer is yes, so you don't have to think about the answer. Have some of the best rounds you ever chanted have been when you're in the greatest distress? Well, you could say no if you want. Sometimes when you're in distress, you forget Krishna. But sometimes devotees are in a situation where the things are very difficult, and they say, those are the best rounds, because I was praying the most, I was the most dependent on Krishna. I had nothing but Krishna. Everything else around me was collapsing. He was my only shelter, so those were amazing rounds. Maybe not the best rounds ever, but very good. You know how we were talking yesterday about how important it is to express in a prayer, express yourself in a way that the person you're praying to will actually take you seriously. And so when we're in distress, our need is greater, and so the intensity of our prayer is greater, and we're petitioning Krishna like, Krishna, you cannot not hear me now because I don't know what to do without you. Like that situation. So obviously, when one chants in that situation, it's very dependent, it's very prayerful, it's very intense, it's very emotional. Isn't it? Yeah. And that's good. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so the holy name means Krishna, please, and you fill in the blanks after the please. Please engage me, please bring my heart to you, please help me overcome this obstacle. Whatever it is we need to advance our spiritual life, we are supposed to communicate that through the holy name. So, that's what it means. Now, the question is, think about your chanting, and you know, sometimes when you don't know a language, you can tell what somebody's saying because of the emotion. So let's say someone just came to the temple during Japa in the morning, and they didn't know what the Hare Krishna mantra meant, and the only way they could tell what it meant was by hearing you chant. What would they think it means? Interesting question, right? Isn't it? Would they hear you chant and would they think, it must be some very intense prayer? I can feel that in their voice. Or would they think, sounds like this devotee is like kind of bored. I don't really feel anything other than boredom. Or, maybe some emotion in between, intense emotion in prayer and complete boredom somewhere, on the continuum. You know what I'm saying? Like what would a person feel? Okay, here's the good news, and here's the bad news. Whatever that person would feel, that's what Krishna feels. Or doesn't feel. So, sometimes a devotee will say, I'm chanting, but Krishna's not reciprocating. Well, did he feel anything if you didn't feel anything? Obviously, no. If I say, Prabhu, I know you're rich, and I'm not, and it would really be nice if you could give me some money. It doesn't look like I really need it the way I'm asking, right? And he's looking at me and he's like, out of here. Where if somebody comes begging, holes in their dhoti, it's the middle of winter and they don't have a sweater, and say, Prabhu, I have no money, I have no sweater, look at my dhoti. Could you help me, please? This is really hard for me. I say, okay. Right? He feels what the person who's begging feels. Right? We feel people. They don't even have to speak, we can feel them. But when they speak, we feel the emotion or the lack of emotion in their voice. Like sometimes when someone's lying to you, you just feel it. It's like, this does not feel true, what they're saying. I don't believe. Why don't you believe him? I don't know, I just don't believe him. Because it doesn't feel true. The emotion with which they're speaking does not communicate that this is true. So I think this is important. If we're going to wonder why Krishna doesn't reciprocate with my chanting, wonder no more. So this is my little mantra for you to meditate on. If when you're chanting you don't feel anything, guess who also doesn't feel anything? The person you're supposed to be chanting to. Just as if I speak and I don't feel anything, you don't. Some of the most popular speakers are the people who speak with the most emotion, isn't it? If you go on YouTube, who has the hits? The one who's like, so today, Srimad Bhagavatam class, first canto, 8th chapter. I mean, you just, I'm not going to be able to listen to this, but someone who's, right? You like feel him, he's telling the story, you're crying. So, we're trying to convince Krishna we need his help, and we're saying, can you help me? Can you help me? I need help. Prabhu, what time is breakfast? I need help. I mean, that's realistically what we're doing. And I know it's funny, but I'm just trying to state the reality. I'm just trying to show the reality. And so then it's foolish to think, well, Krishna is not reciprocating. And I say, no, he is reciprocating. He's reciprocating. Yeyatam mam prapadim. He's perfectly reciprocating. You gave him nothing and you got back nothing. That's a perfect reciprocation. So all the devotees are like, you're just supposed to hear. Hear, okay, but that hearing, Krishna's there. If you hear and Krishna's present, it's something's supposed to happen, right? More than Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. It's something more than that, right? So either you approach it from the heart or from the ear. It's a communication with Krishna. So we had mentioned yesterday that Prabhupada said, you're calling Krishna, Krishna comes and he wants to know, what do you want? So Krishna comes and says, what do you want? You go, Hare Krishna. Nothing. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm just chanting Hare Krishna. No. Don't say that when he comes and ask, what do you want? So if you can think when you're chanting, Krishna's there and he wants to know what do I want. And Prabhupada said, hear yourself chant sincerely. So, I heard something. The way you can tell if somebody's lying is if they blink a lot when they say it. Because you only blink like once every 5 seconds. So, if you blink a lot and you look to the right is the creative part of the brain, so you're creating a story. And left is the rational side, so you're remembering. And then I was at Mangalarti, I was thinking, I blink my eyes every 5 seconds. I don't notice that. Do you notice that? When was the last time you noticed that you blinked your eyes? Like 400 years ago or something? Isn't it interesting how something we do every 5 seconds, or not even, now you're aware of it, right? You're going to go crazy today. I blink my eye, again. But you'll notice, you'll start blinking, right? So I thought that was so interesting. So in the same way, we could be chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is how you chant to God, right? That's how you pray. Jai Nishingadev, Shri Prahlad Nishinga, Ki Jai, Lakshmi Nishinga, Ki Jai. It's interesting, right? So I'm chanting, and I don't even realize that there's like nothing. I'm not saying, Krishna, please engage him in your service. I'm basically saying, Okay, I'm exaggerating a little. I'm not saying we always do that, but we've all done it. Yes? Yes. Okay. He's the only one who's done it. You all are amazing. No, he's the only one who's awake. We've all done this, yes? Yes. Okay. Everyone just woke up. Thank you for waking them up. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, when you chant the holy name, you should meditate on what it means. And so that's what we're discussing now. If I'm chanting, blah, 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 that means I'm not meditating what it means, because Prabhupada is saying here, the essence of prayer is what? He said, your prayer depends on your feeling. Right? We discussed that yesterday. So that being true, then at least be conscious when you're chanting of what's emotion is coming out of you. What are you asking or not asking Krishna for? What are you conscious of or not conscious of? So if we're meditating on the meaning, what does the meaning mean? Krishna, I want to be a devotee, I want to be a pure devotee. I need your help. Okay, so wouldn't it make sense? If I'm meditating on the meaning, then I would feel that in my mantra. That just seems so like, of course, yeah. What does this mean? It's like I give you something and you look at it and you don't know what it is. And I say, this is the crown jewel of the Queen of England. I stole it from the museum. You kidding me? This, he thought it was some glass, costume jewelry. And I go, no, it's the crown jewel. Don't tell anybody. It's worth $5 billion. We're going to go to Iran and sell it to the Shah. Okay. So now you understand what this jewel means. So your emotional experience changes with the meaning of it, right? So if we're chanting and we're disconnected from the meaning, then if this jewel just looks like costume jewelry, so if your holy name just looks like a piece of glass, then the emotion will be equivalent to the meaning you give it, which will be no emotion. It's just glass. You buy these for €3 in any shop. So the holy name is, as we meditate, and what it means that I'm a conditioned soul. I've fallen into this world. I don't know how to get out. I can't get out on my own. Mahaprabhu has given the holy name to help me out, and this is my only way out. This is the only door out of the material world. Wow, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? This is the only door out of the material world. Prabhu, do you want to go out that door? I don't know, maybe. It's too much trouble. I'll just stay here. Wrong. Yeah. That's the only door, and you can just have to go and open it up and get out. If you just ask, the door will open. So that it doesn't make sense. Once you know this is the way out, this is the door, this is the mantra, then it makes sense there would be emotion, doesn't it? I'm just elaborating on this because I know some devotees who they still have a hard time, but you're supposed to be feeling. I thought you were supposed to be hearing. Like you can't do both. It's not that you can't do both, you can, but we haven't heard this enough. I want to tell you something that I found very interesting. There was a book, one of our godbrothers wrote a book, I forget the name, Japa Journal, Japa Reform, Japa, not Satsrup Maharaj. Japa Reform Notebook. No, this was another one. There's another one that came later. This one was interviews with devotees about their japa. Yeah, what was the name of the book?
Japa Meditations.
Japa Meditations. So it was interviews of various devotees, and it's just verbatim interviews. And the gist of the interviews of all, they interviewed young devotees also, but the gist of the interviews, as I remember, with the seniors, I don't remember the juniors necessarily. I think they spoke about different things. All the seniors spoke about feeling, every single one of them. Every single one of them. If you have that book, you can check it. That's my memory of that book, that every senior devotee, when they're interviewed, somewhere in that interview, they stress feeling. Interesting, isn't it? So that means that when you're chanting 20, 30, 40, 50 years, one day you wake up and realize it's not om. That's not it. It's not a mechanical process, Like with Buddhist meditation, all right, just, follow your breath. It's mechanical. Just meditate on your breath. Be present. You want to be present? Okay. Look at something and don't look at anything else. Just focus on that. Be present to that. Now you're present. You're aware of that candle or that light. That's mechanical. It's a mechanical process, right? There's no God there, is there? It's just a candle or a spot or your third eye or a breath. So, if I'm just kind of meditating voidly, repeating some mantra, or Maharishi gives you a seed, he gives you a seed of Gayatri and you repeat it and you don't know what it means, and it's mechanical, right? So, when we think of meditation, maybe some of us think, well, that's what you do. Oh, so the focus is on how do you say it? How do you sit? How do you breathe? It's mechanical, right? And so, if you come from a background where you have that kind of brain, like what is the process? How do you do this? You always want to know the process. Or you come from a background or a nature where you're very ritualistic, where ritual is like extremely important, then you could get sidetracked in thinking the essence of japa is just hear it and pronounce it. But that's like saying the essence of doing arti is to make sure you do the circles. Your mind and heart can be anywhere, but as long as you do the right circles, then you're good. It's not entirely not true, but it's not the essence. Right? That's just the process. So if you want to please Krishna, that's the process. But Krishna says, bhakti uparitam. If it offer me with bhakti, we discussed yesterday. So if you have that nature where you like ritual, and you tend to like value things if the rituals are done perfectly, and it's kind of divorced from the bhakti, that is a problem, because it's not the way to chant. It's not the way to do devotional service. I was thinking of this verse that we spoke about last night. Patra pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati. Give it to me with bhakti. Prayatatmana. If you give it to me with bhakti, yo me bhakta prayachati, tadaham bhaktu paritam, ashnami prayatatmana. I will accept it. Because you've offered it in devotion. You've offered it in devotion. Now, there's a problem. You want to hear what the problem is?
Yes.
There's an English saying, love is what love does. So I meet some woman and I say, I love you. And she says, well, I can't tell you love me because you don't show it. Like, where's the house? Where's the diamond ring? You know. So there's truth to that. You can't, because people will say, I love you, and they don't. Right? And so you want to show your love. So that's true. Now, if we base everything on showing your love, then you could say, well, this verse, if you just offer the leaf, fruit, and flower, and water, that's showing your love. But Krishna says, no. You show your love with your affection with which you do the action. Maybe you've heard this before. Jiva Goswami said that there's different kinds of chanting, but the best chanting is what? Chanting with, who knows? Love. Did you know that? Isn't that nice? That means everything I said yesterday was not bogus. It's bona fide. Because some of you are thinking, I never heard this before. Is he making it up? You'll be happy to know I'm not making it up. And that's why I read this verse today, just to add a little authority to what I was saying. Everything is depending on feeling. So that, it's not that bhakti doesn't mean you don't show your love by action, but it's not complete unless there's love in the action. Because sometimes we think, well, I'll just do this, and this is as good as love. Maybe yes, in some cases. But if you go deeply into our philosophy, you see that you can manifest love, you can manifest devotion in many ways, but it's like, imagine we manifest devotion in trying to help people, but we actually don't like them. But we're just doing it because Prabhupada said, go help them. All right, I'll help them. I hate these people, but I'll help them. It's like, wouldn't you think that something was wrong with that? All right, you want a book? No. Okay, get out of here. I don't want to see your ugly face. These people, I hate these people. They're just big meat eaters. Karmis, I hate them. Excuse me, sir, here's a book. But you're giving the book because you're supposed to. Right? So we would all understand. Prabhu, that's not the right mood. I'm doing the books. That's the sign of my love. I'm distributing books. That's true. It is a sign of your love for your guru. But it's not a sign of your love for these people. And so it's not complete, because it's not just that you distribute the books, it's you have the proper mood, which is to share with people because people need this, because they're suffering, and you feel they're suffering, you want to relieve them from their suffering. That makes it complete. You offer the book, but you do it with the right reason, and then it's perfect. So that's what Krishna's telling us. So you can look in the Shastra and say, well, there's so many rules and regulations. You don't have to follow them all. That's how I please Krishna. Definitely. But it's followed with devotion, bhakti. You know that lecture? Does anybody have that lecture? It went around the internet where Prabhupada's saying how you offer to Krishna. No, he's quoting that same verse. Patra Pushpampalam Yome Bhakta. He quotes Yome Bhakta Prayachiti. I mean, I can tell you what he said. If you can find it, it's better because it's like full of emotion. Yome Bhakta Prayachiti. That's in the lecture. I believe he was speaking to the pujaris when he said that. There was a phenomena, I don't know if it happens in ISKCON now, I'm not aware of it. There was a phenomena, I don't know why, that in the early days of ISKCON, if you became a pujari, automatically, along with being a pujari, came pride. It's like every pujari was proud. I don't know. You know, like, we're better. We're on the altar with Krishna, we're better. And so Prabhupada saw that and he spoke to the pujaris. Anyway, I'll tell you what he said. He said the mood of offering to Krishna, specifically if you're a pujari, you're offering to Krishna, and you approach Krishna with the feeling, mood means feeling, with the feeling that Krishna, whatever I'm offering you, from your perspective as the Supreme Lord, it's of little value. You know, I'm offering you some 3 puris and you have billions of acres of wheat. And you have like unlimited servants and Radharani cooks for you. It's like, you know, like I'm no competition for Radharani's cooking, that's for sure. And you definitely don't need my chapatis. So that's you approach it. What I'm offering you, for you, has no value. I found it. Okay. I'll play it through it's a recording you have? Yes. Okay. All right. Try not to cry when you hear it, because Prabhupada cries in it. And okay. We're talking about feeling. You're definitely going to feel this. And you remember last night I said, you know, Krishna wants us to offer with love, so we can, you know, patra pushpam palam toyam mahamantra. Like, just add the mahamantra to that verse. Offer it with devotion. That's the way he wants us to do it. So, although Prabhupada is talking about offering to the deity, we can apply this to our chanting. Like, you can, you know, because we're supposed to chant humbly, so you can apply this to your mood of chanting.
Krishna, just like Mother Maha.
No.
He was talking with Sanatana Goswami. Mother Maha, Sanatana Goswami at that time had no temple. He was hanging his deity on the tree. So Madan Man was talking with him, Sanatana, you are bringing all these dry chapatis, and it is stale, and you don't give me little salt. How can I eat? Sanatana Goswami says, sir, when shall I go? Whatever I get, I offer you. You kindly accept. I cannot go, old man. So Krishna had to eat that. Because the bhakta is offering, he cannot refuse. Dhiman bhaktya.
Internet. This was the part I wanted.
Wait.
Today's Saturdays. The Sabbath, no internet.
Shani. Do you want the Wi-Fi?
I have it.
Hold on, everyone. The day of Shani. Yes. You lost it?
No, it's here.
Your internet's no good?
Dhiman bhaktya opposite. The real thing is bhakti. What you can offer to Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna. what you have got? What is your value? And what is the value of your things? There is nothing. Therefore, the real thing is bhaktya. The real thing is your feeling. Krishna, kindly take it. I have no qualification. I am most rotten fallen. But I applaud this thing for you. Please sit. These will be accepted. Don't be perturbed. Always be careful. You are dealing with Krishna. That is my request. Thank you very much.
I have nothing to offer you. Nothing of value to offer you. Not even my body. But I'm begging you, please accept. I think this is a perfect way to chant the holy name. I am, without you, I am nothing. And I am offering you this holy name. You please accept it. I'm trying to do this to please you. I need your mercy. That's it. Why would it be any different with Japa? Why would, you go on the altar, Do you do that when you're offering to Krishna, there must be something, right? A little bit? Yes, I hope. Naturally, because I'm offering this to Krishna. This is like serious business. We have difficulty sometimes remaining focused on the holy name and remaining in this consciousness. We don't have the same difficulty when we're on the altar or when we're doing puja. Right? It's not like one hand you're bathing the deities and one hand you're on the throne. I mean, you might have done that, but it probably is rare. Like some emergency or something. And devotees say, well, it's so hard to control my mind when I chant. What about when you do puja? They say, no. Very focused. All right. Interesting. Isn't it a little bit about the mood that you create when you do puja? Like, this is Krishna, I'm touching Krishna. It's like, this is like serious, pretty much serious business. This is God. Like, yes? So, the mood then is a little different. But should it be different between deity worship and japa? Well, one lecture Prabhupada said, when the curtains open, you bow down. Krishna is present. He said, and when you chant the holy name, you should bow down because Krishna is also present. So if we actually approach the holy name that way, it would be very similar to the worship of the deity. Right? And you'll be, instead of offering various articles, you're offering the holy name with focus. So, this is always the big obstacle, remaining focused. Distraction, apathy, laziness. These are the three divisions of inattention. It's always a potential problem. It's interesting we don't really have that problem in deity worship. At least not so much. Isn't it? Laziness, apathy, distraction. We don't really have it in deity worship. It's just not the mood. It's Krishna. Same with japa. But we have it with japa because we don't realize, it's more difficult to realize Krishna in sound than it is in something grosser that you can see and touch and feel. But I think it makes the point. When the mood is there, things shift. And so if you develop the right mood with which to approach the holy name, it becomes more natural to pray like Kunti Devi is saying in this verse. Hare Krishna. So I need to leave in 5 minutes. I don't know if it's possible to answer all your questions in 5 minutes, but we will try. Yes.
at the beginning you said when a person doesn't know what the Hare Krishna Maharaj thinks of each of every one of us when we're chanting, like what we're saying. I was trying to repeat it in my mind, like, how do I sound when I don't know what it means? And I realized that I sound like I would say, I'm the greatest. not I bow down in devotion and please help me, Krishna.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's why I shook my head when you said when I'm in distress, I feel that as if my japa would count the most. It doesn't, because I do not feel like I'm the greatest. For me, it was always like when I feel happy. But I thought consciously, like for me, doing japa when I'm happy, it just means I just want to stay in this place so much, in this happiness. So please, Krishna, let me stay there. And then I reflected also on my last encounter with Maharaj. It was Jananda Maharaj, and in his last lecture in the morning, he was indirectly chastising me that I'm trying to be a mukti and be like, oh, I'm the greatest. I don't need a spiritual master. I can find it by myself. And so on and so forth. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, I don't think he understands me, but I feel like, okay, he understands me more than I do myself. So how do I change that?
Beautiful. Nice. Hare Krishna.
Because I don't want to feel like I'm the greatest.
Definitely. No, because Trinadapi Sunichena. You want to feel like everyone's greater. That's Krishna consciousness. And it's also helpful for you to know that that's how the pure devotees feel, that everyone's greater. And the greatest materialists feel that everyone's lesser. So you want to be on the side of the great devotees, not the great materialists. Right? But another thing you can meditate on is that we are not enjoyers of the holy name, we are servants. Our enjoyment of the holy name will come because we're in the mood of a servant, not that we're trying to directly enjoy it. Just like we enjoy prasadam, and that is fine because Krishna enjoyed it first. So Krishna enjoys hearing his holy name. We are chanting to purify us of the desire to be in competition with Krishna as the enjoyer, but we're chanting to be the servant. So that's important to know also, that we're not chanting for our material pleasure, or in what you're saying. I'm not chanting to expand, inflate my false ego. I really should be chanting to deflate it. So instead of pumping it up with each mantra, I should be letting the air out. Hare Krishna. And then if we come to a point where we start appreciating devotees more, we start feeling that others are better, that means we're making advancement. And if it goes the other way, it means we're not actually advancing. The process is backfiring, which is possible, right? Hare Krishna. Yes?
Hare Krishna, thank you for wonderful class. Can we say, when we chant and we just hear and we try to focus and we try to control the mind, it's more on the platform of the mind, but when we chant with love, feelings, emotions, it comes more from the soul?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that a lot of us do it because that's just how we're trained to chant, and so we do it that way. So I wouldn't want to say, well, we don't have bhakti or anything, but it can definitely be, as you say, it can be a very mechanical process, especially for people who approach the world mechanically. Or as Rinnayananda said, ritualistic people never met a ritual they didn't like. It's like, hey Prabhu, I got a book of rituals you don't know about, give me that book. So I have more rituals I can do, because they like rituals, which is not a problem. But when the ritual replaces the bhakti, then that's the problem. So I like to you could use the word mental, I use the word mechanical. And the interesting thing about the word mechanical, it seemed like, well, it's kind of so obvious. It's mechanical. It's not from the heart. If it's not from the heart, it's mechanical. So I used to use that word, and then I was listening to a lecture, and Prabhupada said, we should not chant mechanically. And I was like, good. That's a bona fide, concept. But it just seemed obvious that that's what was happening. So you could also say that. It's subconscious, automatic. Because the nature of any habit is you can do it without thinking. And that, have you ever chanted? Like you drive a stick shift, you don't think, and you just chant, you don't think. Now, that's the danger of doing something repeatedly, because you can do it without thinking. I remember on Sankirtan, well, those of you who are Sankirtan devotees, you go out every day and you say the same thing. And after a while, do you ever feel like a robot after a while? It's like you got the same joke, like 4,800, and that same little ha ha ha, And so it so well, you could actually be asleep and do it. Do you ever feel that way? It's like, I don't even have to be conscious. So that's what you call unconscious competence. So you've done it so much that you don't need a conscious mind to do it. You just do it. So that can work for you and against you. If you're doing something every day right, then you'll naturally just automatically do it right. Because that's the way you do it. But if you do it wrong, then you'll automatically do it wrong, because that's the way you do it. So that's the problem. So it's easy to become a mechanical japa chanter, because you've chanted so many rounds, you can just do it. As we say, I can do it with my eyes closed. I can do it, And the problem is I can do it while I'm talking, while I'm cooking, while I'm cleaning, while I'm driving. I know how to chant without concentration. I've learned how to do that. That's a bad habit. I've learned how to chant without feeling. Bad habit. We need to break that habit. Yes? That's the whole day yesterday was just to come to this point, basically. Just to break that habit and connect with what the name means on an emotional level. And then you're actually chanting. And then you'll see the difference in your life. Huge difference. All your problems will just fly out the window. A few new ones may fly in, but don't worry, they'll also fly out if you chant well. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I have to finish packing, take prasadam, and leave. Yes. All right. One last question. We give respect to the seniors.
It's really tight.
Yeah. Tight. Yeah. I have to eat fast. As long as breakfast is ready now, then we'll be good. Yes, breakfast is ready, and then I need a few devotees come and help me finish the packing. Then we'll be good. Yes.
Very simple question. Could you please say something about the volume of the chanting? In some temples, everybody is sitting and you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Almost practically in the mind. Somewhere in Chaitanya is said chanting in the mind is even more, but we should follow Prabhupada's example, and he was chanting quite loudly. It's quite simple.
What to do? Hari Bhakti Vilas. Chanting softly 1,000 times better than loudly. Chanting in the mind 1,000 times better than chanting softly. What to do? Prabhupada said, don't chant in the mind. That's for like Mahabhagavat. I was at a Japa retreat, and Satyanananda Swami was, telling us about these three kinds of chanting. And Japa itself means to murmur, to whisper. That's what Japa means. If you chant loudly, Hare Krishna, technically it's no longer Japa, it's Kirtan. Even if you're on your beads, you're like doing Kirtan on your beads, and it's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But Prabhupada did sometimes recommend chanting loudly for those who have loud minds. So it's like competition between who's going to be louder. And so after we were doing our at the Japa retreat, everybody was doing this murmuring Japa. It was called Upamsa, I believe, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like that, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, some devotees were saying, yes, I'm whispering externally, but inside I'm screaming. Inside, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Externally, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So that can be there also. Right? You can scream inside and whisper outside. I like that. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Thai Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.
His Grace Mahatma Prabhu ki
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
And please don't stop Mahatma Prabhu on the way to breakfast because we don't have much
You want to take a
time.
picture or what? You're going to show the devotees? Of course. You can pull that out.
I was wondering,